So now we will be getting started, and I'm going to introduce our presenters. We have Kristen Heifel, who is our Quality Enhancement Specialist, Eric DeSoy, who's also a Quality Enhancement Specialist, and then we have Maddie Robin, who's a Communications Specialist, and then I'm Seth Petrie, Director of Marketing. So now I'm going to pass things over to Kristen, who is going to get us started today. Kristen.
Sure. All right. Thank you guys all so much for joining us. So since 1969, CQL has been a leader in working with human service organizations and systems to continuously define, measure, and improve quality of life for children, youth, adults, older adults with intellectual, developmental, and psychiatric disabilities. CQL offers accreditation, training, certification, research, and consultation services to agencies that share our vision of dignity, opportunity, and community for all people. All right, so as you can see by this map, there's more than 390 organizations that have achieved CQL accreditation. There are 23 states represented, particularly the Tennessee IDD system, all North Dakota and South Dakota organizations, and you'll see that they are also in Canada and Ireland. And for more information on some of these accredited organizations, you can check out our website. So whether you're new to your quality journey with CQL or you've been on it for decades, you'll know that CQL accreditation has a great deal of value and benefit for your organization. This is just a listing of some of the multiple benefits of partnering with CQL. Particularly around accreditation, some things that it can really help you with are improvement of services and a positive impact for all people on the workforce, for people supported, on your stakeholders, external validation, accountability, data-driven focus, and really ensuring that there's an alignment of values within systems and practices and sharing of resources. We use an appreciative inquiry approach, and there's really just so much great value to come from all of this. So today we're going to be talking about exciting and innovative ways that you can promote your accreditation, both inside your organization and with outside your organization as well. All right, so before your accreditation, gosh, for those of you who have been through this, you know that planning for an accreditation is a huge process, and it typically starts several months before, and there's tons of behind the scenes work. One question that often gets asked is, what is accreditation? And that's really important to understand, but also really hard to explain because it has so many different moving parts to it. So what we've done at CQL is put together this little video, and we're going to show it really quick because it explains things super well. And I would just encourage you to, when you're explaining it to people, to use this, have some viewing parties, build some excitement around this. But this really explains the process and gets people motivated with this as well. So we're going to watch this little video, and it'll tell you all about accreditation.
An overview of CQL accreditation. A common understanding of accreditation is the formal recognition for achieving a set of standards, often viewed as merely passing a test. CQL accreditation, however, is different. Our approach is a journey toward ongoing transformation. Rather than a passing score, it is about choosing the right path and making measurable progress. Through an open, honest, and unbiased evaluation by outside experts, CQL accreditation equips organizations with action steps for improvement. When organizations rely on their own internal review, they may unintentionally allow the investment they have in their organization to influence their outlook. Hundreds of organizations throughout the United States, Canada, Ireland, and New Zealand have achieved CQL accreditation and are pursuing the highest standards of quality in the human services field. They are always eager to share their positive experiences. How can we offer person-centered services? Based on our findings, CQL is the perfect vehicle to make it happen, shares Patrick Maynard from I Am Boundless in Ohio. The accreditation process isn't focused on paper, it's focused on people. Along with reviewing policies and procedures, CQL uses internationally recognized tools to ensure policies are actually put into practice and the supports provided, and more importantly, in people's lives. Carme Marquianda of Arc of Rockland in New York shares, "We were so energized with the team that came out. They shared best practices from other places that they visited. CQL reviewers have diverse expertise and work with hundreds of organizations across the globe. They observe best practices from organizations and spread them throughout the human services field. CQL Accreditation provides tools and guidance to support the collection of data, which demonstrates and measures the impact of the quality of supports, says Jackie McKnight from Empower Simcoe in Canada. Organizations can use data gathered through CQL tools to inform decision-making and assess the return on investments. CQL accreditation includes complimentary access to the portal data system during your accreditation term. We are so thankful for the opportunity to partner with CQL to celebrate our successes and identify opportunities to strengthen our organization, shares Emily Raming from Total Link 2 Community in Illinois. CQL accreditation is not a deficiency-driven process. We work with organizations to improve supports by applying areas of excellence to areas of improvement. Accreditation has forced us to become a lifelong learning organization and highlights the importance of having all stakeholders involved, says Mara O'Loughlin from Sunbeam House Services in Ireland. The scope of other accrediting bodies can be limiting. CQL does not provide programmatic level accreditation of specific services. CQL accreditation encompasses an entire organization, as true transformation is predicated on change at all levels. We are confident that CQL's leadership team will always point us in the right direction and be transparent and truthful with us, shares Leslie Long from the ARC of Cape May County in New Jersey. Your experience with CQL doesn't begin and end with the accreditation visit. CQL embraces a partnership throughout the entire accreditation term, offering support, guidance, resources, check-ins, and insight. Whether you are a small organization or serving people across multiple states or counties, you can find out how CQL accreditation will help improve the quality of your services and the quality of people's lives. To learn more about the transformative effect of CQL accreditation, please visit c-q-l.org/accreditation.
All right. So again, that was just a little video to highlight some of the things that happen with accreditation. Again, it's not all of them. There's so much happening. So really, before you begin, you really want to build excitement. And this is something that you'll really want to have throughout your entire planning stages, during your week and after your week. So I'm going to focus on the beginning. So everybody's busy. I know this isn't a news flash, right? So everybody has so many things to do and so many plates juggling in the air. So when you try to add another thing, people tend to get really frustrated and it's very understandable. So really framing this, and it's not just another thing to do, but it is a time to kind of take away and look back at the important things and to really not add a new thing, but this is the thing to do. Get in a celebratory mindset. Look at what you've done together in the past few years. It's been a really, really difficult few years and so many challenges have come, but many organizations we partner with really are thankful for the opportunity to look back and acknowledge and celebrate the day-to-day stuff that often gets mistaken or not seen. So really look at this as a celebratory mindset and an exciting opportunity to learn and grow. Again, we can get really caught up in the day-to-day funding streams and state expectations. And this is a chance to step back and look at data-driven international best practices with really the idea that the goal is to just increase supports and services and quality for the people that are supported. So being creative and planning. This is also during all the parts of your organization. There tends to not be a lot of creativity sometimes in our jobs and spontaneity within the day-to-day. So this is an opportunity to be creative and imaginative. It's time to think outside the box. Some things that we've seen are themes, food, music, decorations. Honestly, it's a limitless pot to draw from. So just do what you want to do and have fun. It's not a typical punitive survey process. And that's something that needs to be reiterated often. It is a partnership and it is reciprocal. There isn't a list of deficiencies at the end. And so telling people that really helps to get them feel comfortable and also as part of the group that it's not going to be a not great experience. The process is a collaboration, partnership journey. CQL, as it said in the video, is going to be right there with you throughout as part of the partnership. Have conversations early and often to talk about expectations for the week. What do people want to get out of it? What examples and resources would you like to have from CQL? So building momentum. You really want to work hard to get everyone involved. It has to be a diverse group of stakeholders ideally, and the people should participate in all parts of the journey. And you want to always be thinking about the most important people supported, DSPs, but even, cast a wider net to people like maintenance workers, administration workers, because they really offer a unique perspective that isn't always heard. Always think externally. Also think externally to community partners, family members, board members. You want to communicate often and creatively about the process. So that can look like social media, the TikToks, email blasts, success stories, posters. Creativity is just really all around this process. You want to consistently frame the process in a fun and exciting way to celebrate the successes, but also to learn more. Positivity, enthusiasm are key. So getting people on board and to also keeping them running the whole time. So positivity, enthusiasm, again, should be modeled and emulated in all conversations around accreditation. Also, be realistic about challenges. They are real and they are intense. CQL reviewers, we've worked with a lot of organizations throughout the country and other countries, and people are really having a lot of struggles. And we are understanding of that. And when people bring them up, you can reiterate that this is a time to talk about those challenges in a realistic way, and to talk to people who have some ideas around resources and things that can help that. Again, listen to voices that aren't traditionally represented, identify champions who have seen success within the personal outcome measures and BA process. And it shouldn't just be leadership involved, it should be everyone involved. All right, so as you're making your schedule, scheduling is critical and it takes a while. Getting insight from different people about logistics is really, really important. You want everyone to know about it very well in advance. Make sure everyone is involved and assemble a team. Every organization has those creative hype people and excitement around it so that it can continue to be exciting throughout. Planning is a collaborative effort, particularly when you're working on a schedule. You want to find out what times are best for people, what places are best for people, considering in-person and virtual components, and just really ensuring that a lot of people are contributing to the plan. All right. So in the schedule, there's going to be so many things happening. So you're going to want to ensure that lots of people are involved both in putting the schedule together, and then for the whole week, they're going to need to be free as much as possible. So letting them know in advance and being respectful of their time. But I'm just going to go through a few of the components that take place during the accreditation. So the opening presentation, really fun time, involve lots of people, invite lots of people. Eric's going to talk more about this, but you're going to want to share successes, be creative, record it for others. Site visit. So at CQL, we really like to see people, not buildings. So we will be asking to see some places, and it's really important that the people who live there or are part of the network know that we're coming and are active in showing us around or active in giving tours, and just really being a part of the whole thing. Then we will have some factor discussions. Again, a diverse group is really great. Sometimes people don't know why they're coming, and so educate people who are showing up to know that this is because their opinions are important and they're not going to say a wrong thing or get in trouble. It's just really about finding out their unique perspective. So yes, same with focus groups. CQL will be doing many focus groups when we're there and really trying to get those diverse opinions and experiences. So you want to invite a large swath of people with very different opinions and experiences. Transparency is key, and scheduling it well in advance. Also on the schedule, we do some personal outcome measures, interviews, have backups ready if possible. Again, it should be people who know about the process and are excited about the process and want us to come in and interview them. And again, the preparation around all of this is very important. The last part of the accreditation, probably the most fun, is the final day stakeholder celebration day. With this, you're going to, again, want to involve as many people as possible, people who've been involved all week, come back together, close the loop. It'll be a fun time of strengths and opportunities and really closure to this really busy and really dynamic week. So plan a celebration, whatever that looks like for your organization. But those are the intricate parts of the schedule and thinking about the best time and place for everyone involved. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Eric, who's going to talk about what to expect during your accreditation and how to build excitement around that.
Thank you very much, Kristen, for that introduction. And I would like to start out by saying that if we could go to the next slide, many of us are visual people, and seeing things represented visually helps us to understand them. And Kristen just ran through quite a bit of work that takes place prior to Accreditation Week, but many of the people in attendance aren't necessarily going to be aware of that. So what I would suggest is you could have some kind of representation, like one of those thermometers that you see when churches and other organizations are having fundraisers, and as the money comes in, the temperature of the thermometer goes up. And you could start your accreditation week by having this there and saying, hey, we've done about 10% of the work already before we even got here today. And then you could consider during the week, as focus groups and factor meetings are completed, somebody from one of those groups could go over to this thermometer and use a Sharpie and color it in that that's complete, and you could see a visual for the rest of the week. A thought to get things started. Next, please. Thank you. So some housekeeping during the week. Kristen gave you a pretty good characterization of what to expect. And ultimately, you're going to want to be your best selves. You want to come to accreditation and have the organization come to an organization with an open mind, and with the idea that quality is a destination, is not a destination, it's a journey. It's going to be a busy week. You could characterize CQL Accreditation Week as like a roller coaster. It can be a lot of fun, but it has its ups and downs. It's going to be very important throughout the week to have focus. If possible, staff should arrange for someone else to handle things while they're at accreditation activities. Let people know ahead of time. If you're someone that's constantly getting phone calls and texts during the job, let people know that during accreditation activities, you're not going to have the same availability, and that they may have to wait to hear from you. Let people know what to expect for the week, as Kristen said, and at the same time, find out from what they're looking for out of the week. Work to ensure that people know where they need to be and when they need to be there during accreditation week, and keep that communication going on regularly. It is going to be a busy time with a lot of moving parts, and communicate this often. If you're using something like Zoom, and who isn't these days, make sure you've got an updated version and that your links are working, and get confirmation from people that they've gotten the emails and such. Encourage people during the week to meet new people and to take pictures and to share them to social media, as Kristen was saying. Have fun, some friendly competition with team members as to who gets the most things on social media. And consider journaling if you've got someone in your crew that likes to do that, who might want to do that during the week and share it with other people. Much of the time during accreditation week, two things are going on at the same time in different places. The schedule might have to change at times for a variety of reasons. For that reason, everyone should know who the point person is in your organization. And that point person should have deputies that they can rely on during the week. Ultimately, being as organized as possible so that logistics don't become a distraction can help keep things very positive during the week. In order to have the best possible results, being open and honest during focus group and factor meetings is going to be premium. Be appreciative and respectful of each other's times during accreditation week. And to help people feel more comfortable, considering things like name tags or place settings with people's names on them, so people don't have anxiety because they don't know everybody's names. And also, read the room. If people are looking sluggish or need a break, even if it's just a 30-second break to get up and stretch, consider doing that in order to keep things on their optimum. During the accreditation opening day, the first accreditation activity for the organization is going to be the presentation. The duration of that presentation is really going to vary depending on the size of the organization. Every organization is different. During the presentation, people should be looking to emphasize partnership and collaboration with CQL. The presentation, as Kristen alluded to earlier, should be celebratory. This sets the tone for the whole week. The message to those in attendance is to be prepared to teach and learn and to create something special. Next slide, please. Okay, when you start preparing for your agency presentation and you're going to start considering what possible media you're going to employ, When I think about media, I think of Marshall McLuhan, who said the medium is the message, which means that the media we choose also is part of the message that we choose. So looking at a variety of the options available to us, certainly there's the live in-person option. Some people are very comfortable talking in front of groups, and that will be a planned part of the presentation. You may also encourage spontaneous people to stand up and present who may not be on the agenda, but something has helped them to think, I want to stand up and say something here, and we want to promote that. Also, another medium that could be used is video. Someone may very much want to contribute to the presentation, and they cannot make it that day. They can record it in advance, something like pre-recorded carpool karaoke if they would like, or people may not feel comfortable talking in front of people, and that's why they want to record something so that they can still participate. They also may want the ability to have an edit or a redo. Of course, everybody's gotten very familiar with Zoom over the past few years, and there may be people who want to contribute live but cannot make it in person to the site or prefer not to, and Zoom is certainly a great option for them. And then artistic expression. Odds are you know who the artists are in your organization. Their contribution during an agency presentation would help those in attendance know who the agency is by telling us who they are as artists. Odds are there's someone in your organization who can strum a guitar and sing a song. Imagine if people in attendance might spontaneously get up and start dancing or clapping. That would be memorable. Whatever the medium, we want to encourage people to use humor, success stories, anecdotes, and anything else that would help tell people who the organization is. Speaking of communicating, let's borrow from realtors. Anyone that's worked with a realtor for any length of time knows the three most important things about real estate are location, location, location. Now, if you're a provider and you happen to have a community partner that is a minor league baseball team and their stadium isn't on use on your opening day, wouldn't that be an awesome place to have your opening agency presentation? And that's not just some kind of crazy pipe dream. That has actually happened. And imagine how exciting that was for people involved, especially the sports fans. Also, when looking at your opening day and your agency presentation, you want to be sure that it's a place that will fit everybody that's coming. By now, you've gotten your invitations out, your RSVPs. You've been talking to your community partners to see what kind of spaces they may have available. And you've been talking to the creative people in your organization to say how you can make it unique. And then you've got to consider, as I alluded to, the schedule where factor groups and focus groups can be happening at two different things at the same time in different locations. Do you have the space to be able to accommodate all that? Accessibility is certainly a huge consideration at all times. Are you going to offer virtual options and hybrid options for your accreditation week? Food and drinks are always welcome. You want to be sure that you're accommodating people's different dietary needs. And oftentimes those bowls of candy on the table are very popular, especially during afternoon meetings when people might be wearing down a little bit. Okay, your agency presentation. Who's going to be doing the actual presenting? Well, we mentioned earlier, I did, the artists from your organization and any stakeholder from your organization that would want to present some kind of a work of art. And it doesn't just have to be video. It could be painting, it could be sculpting, it could be a poem. It still explains who the organization is. And then of course, we would want all of the people listed here in some representation. Agencies typically have several months or more from the time they start the accreditation process until the first day of accreditation week. During that time, they have a lot of opportunity to identify possible presenters in their midst who are excited and enthusiastic about CQL and have an affinity for CQL. This will certainly help set the tone for the rest of the week. Just a quick little suggestion of something might be fun during accreditation week is plant the seed for some friendly competition with a prize to the winner. The competition could simply be who has been in different meetings and such throughout the week with the most number of novel people. And you could keep a running stock market type tally through the week to see who's leading that. And the prize could be something like movie tickets or something similar, or possibly even donated dinner for two from one of your community partners. Throughout the week, we want to make sure at the beginning of each new activity, we're carving out some time for people to connect with each other. This is a great opportunity for stakeholders who may not know each other to introduce themselves. Leaders of the activity should take a moment to reflect on something that has excited or energized them during the week. They should encourage others in attendance to do the same. Part of this is modeling, and part of it helps you to sharpen your skills here. During the week, people have an opportunity to learn about resources available through CQL, as well as best practices seen at other providers. Communication is key throughout, and everyone's thoughts are welcome. And facilitators should follow up on comments by acknowledging what people have said and using that as a point from which to lead to the next subject. Emphasized on this slide is nothing about me without me. And that is a big reminder to ensure that as many people as possible, people supported as possible, are at the forefront of anything. As mentioned earlier, we'd like to keep these numbers proportional with the organization. After the first day, which starts with the agency presentation and is followed by a number of focus groups and factor meetings and POM interviews, day 2 starts with a morning debriefing. And at this meeting, CQL will talk about all the great things they learned about the day before, as well as opportunities the organization has to build on those strengths. Highlights will be shared from focus groups and site visits, and if applicable, POM interviews from the day before. CQL staff are present at these meetings to provide clarification and answer any questions that people might have. This is not as involved as the opening presentation is, but you still need to plan ahead as to who you're going to have at that meeting. CQL will share items that will likely go into an alignment plan as they've been identified by the CQL team in concert with agency staff. There will be no surprises at the end of the week during the closing meeting and feedback session. Everyone will know exactly where things are. Lastly, there are many things needed in the schedule. There are many changes needed in the schedule for that day. This will be addressed and factor meetings will be shuffled accordingly. The organization is pursuing person-centered excellence or person-centered excellence with distinction. Again, like the opening agency presentation, there's going to be a lot of thought that goes into the location, the technology that's going to be used during that day, and the logistics that are in place. There's many moving pieces with small group work, presentations, PowerPoints, and more. Identify the people in your organization ahead of time who will assist with this. Invite a diverse cross-section from the organization, including all stakeholders, to participate. Invitations to stakeholders should make it clear what the goals of the day are and how stakeholders will be able to contribute to this important activity. During Stakeholder Day, take the opportunity to thank attendees taking time out of their day to participate. Stress that appreciative inquiry approach, stressing the strengths of the organization, will be occurring throughout the day, and that everyone will be heard. Thank you. Okay, the final day. You are over the last big hill and the roller coaster is coming to a stop. Strengths and opportunities are shared based on all the various voices that have been heard during the week, including voices at factor team meetings, at focus group meetings, and at site visits. Part of the agenda for the final day, if it's for a PCE or PCED accreditation, the organizational leadership will present plans developed with input from a cross-section of shareholders on the day before. Priority areas for the CQL accreditation term will be discussed based on what really matters as determined on Stakeholder Day. Accreditation next steps and timelines will be shared. It'll be a combination of a lot of hard work. And then celebrate, take pictures, have celebratory music queued up and ready to play. Congratulate everyone present on the accomplishment of accreditation and spread the news to those who aren't present. Laugh and enjoy the moment. Take the rest of the day to recoup. CQL provides several written reports on the final day. We discourage people from reading them right away. Revel in the moment. Read the reports on Monday. I would now like to quickly share with you some of the things that some other provider organizations have done to make their accreditation weeks memorable. And these are samples of some of the things that people have done. This isn't everything that they have done. For instance, AHRC of New York City, who was pursuing person-centered excellence, took steps to make sure they had a diverse set of stakeholders participating. They welcomed any and all stakeholders to the kickoff meeting, as well as the general public. They hosted tours for the broader community. They sent out invites to their entire listserv. They recorded Accreditation Week videos, posted them to YouTube, and sent out links for people to watch later. On Stakeholder Day, they held it in a large donated space by a business partner so more people could take part. They made sure that the largest group of participants were people receiving services and that the second largest group of participants were frontline staff. Another organization, the Arc of Rensselaer County, shows the opportunity to commute that they are a fun organization by having a theme week based around the quote, "We are all in the same storm, just in different boats." This showed that they are creative organization and made for a unique week. And finally, the St. Louis Arc had to do their accreditation virtually during the pandemic, as many organizations did. To do this, they produced numerous videos for their accreditation visit week. They did a welcome video that set the stage, talked through the process and the expectations, and introduced CQL staff. They featured a wide cross-section of staff at all levels, people-supported vendors, community partners. They posted their videos, they posted other videos, including State of the Arc, PCE factors, breakout room videos about success stories, best practices, outcomes achieved, and more. They also posted their accreditation results. They presented them and streamed them virtually and posted them online. Thank you for listening this far, and I would like to now turn things over to Maddie and Seth.
Thanks so much, Eric. So Kristen and Eric have done a really good job of covering everything that you can do to promote accreditation, engage with stakeholders, communicate about the process leading up to your accreditation visit one and during your accreditation week. Now we're going to shift gears and cover, after you achieve accreditation, how can you continue to promote your accreditation? So that's, throughout your accreditation term. And this quote really kind of helps set the stage for what we're talking about here. Accreditation is really a demonstration of your dedication to quality. So like Empower Simcoe says, it's really showing your stakeholders that you walk the talk. So now we're going to cover why it's important to promote accreditation and your achievement of accreditation. So really, it sends a message that you're committed to the people receiving services. It validates that you're working to provide the very best supports. It tells people supported, families, staff, board members, donors, and the broader community that you're focused on what really matters. And that really comes down to the quality of your services and ultimately the quality of people's lives. It highlights your hard work and your investment in innovation and transformation. And it really does make you stand out among other provider organizations. And as anyone that is accredited or pursuing accreditation knows, it is a lot of work. It's very demanding. It requires a lot of dedication and time and resources. So, achieving that accreditation, it's a good opportunity to celebrate. So now, Maddie is going to tell us how CQL promotes your accreditation and what type of support CQL provides, what type of materials we offer to help you promote your achievement. Maddie?
Thank you, Seth. We at CQL really do our best to promote your accreditation through multiple channels. The first of which is our database of accredited organizations that's located on our website. This list is organized alphabetically and is able to be filtered by location and accreditation type. There's also a search function within it. And as you can see within this screenshot here, we also link directly to your website indicated by the blue underlined text, if you have one. This is something we do to easily connect people with your organization for whatever reason. Maybe they're interested in CQL accreditation and are wanting to see the types of organizations that we accredit, or maybe they're looking for reputable organizations for care or employment. Whatever the reason, that's kind of what we have this page here for. Next, please. The next way that CQL promotes your accreditation, and it's probably the one that you've seen the most, is through social media. We share all of our accredited organizations' achievement on our social media accounts, even if you as an organization don't have a social media account. In these posts, we share your logo, which accreditation you achieved, and tag your social media account, again, if you have them. And that is for you as an organization, your staff, and your community to share. The final way that I will be sharing on how CQL specifically promotes your accreditation is by our accreditation success story articles, which we love putting together. We identify organizations that had an exemplary accreditation process and then reach out to them individually with a short survey to complete about the accreditation process and what it's done for them as an organization. Once that survey is completed, we in the marketing department work with the lead QES who oversaw that organization's accreditation to create the article based on the survey and the QES's experience. These articles are distributed on our website, social media, as well as an email blast to around 8,000 recipients. So sort of shifting gears from how CQL promotes your accreditation to what you can actively do to promote your own accreditation. We have always provided a digital promotional kit or promo kit upon completion of accreditation. However, earlier this year, we took some time to really refresh the materials we provide. We designed a brand new accreditation logo and a variety of color options for different contexts, developed visual guides to make things a little clearer, and additional social media graphics for you to use. And I did want to take a moment here to say that if you are a currently accredited organization that is using the old accreditation logo and have not updated it, we really want to encourage you to do that. The new design is significantly more visible because it's kind of contained in that circular emblem and rather being transparent text. And it was designed to fit a wider range of context than our last one and will just overall look better on your websites and wherever you're using it. Feel free to reach out individually after this webinar if you need assistance. And the final thing I will be sharing with you is a great newer resource that is available to you that goes over a lot of what I just shared actually, and that is our Promoting Your Accreditation webpage. This page includes a lot of information that I covered today, as I just said, and goes into detail of what is provided in your promo kit. So Kristen, if you want to press play. Yeah, this is our Promoting Your Accreditation webpage, and just like I said, you can kind of see it goes over a lot of what's included in your promotional kit. And if you scroll all the way down to the frequently asked questions section, I'm kind of circling it here, and then you expand the where can I find promo kit materials, you'll see a bunch of links. And if you click the one that fits your accreditation, it'll take you to this page where you can enter the password we provided and boom, you're in. This link is provided to you through your email, but if you lose it, this is an easy way to access it. As you can see, I clicked on the posters that we provide for you to use. There's different ones for different accreditation types. And then the next thing I click on is the accreditation press release template that we provide for you as like a starting point for that. Then the folders are split into logos and social media. The social media one has a guide specifically for everything that's within the promo kit, how to use it. And then there's profile graphics and post graphics. Post graphics are going to be that we achieved accreditation to share. And then the profile graphics are going to be like your Facebook cover photo, your LinkedIn header, whatever's related to that. There's a couple different versions for you to use. And next, we're going to go into the logos. Just like social media, there's a guide in that folder that goes over the different file types we provide, how to integrate it, ideas, and then guidelines of what to do, what not to do. And like I was explaining before, there's different variations of the logo, different colorways that will be that will align with the different contexts that you might want to use it for. So there are a lot of great resources for you to use from this webpage and within the promo kit to share your achievement with your community and supporters online and in person. So I will be handing the reins over to Seth, who will give you some real life applications, and you'll also be able to see the ways you can integrate that accreditation logo too.
Thanks so much, Maddie. That was excellent information. And this quote from Independent Opportunities, Inc. in Tennessee kind of speaks to how accreditation can really set your organization apart from others. But to do that, as you kind of heard throughout this webinar, you really need to be promoting your accreditation. So now I'm going to run through a bunch of different ways you can use the promo kit and share real life examples of how some of our accredited organizations are promoting their accreditation. So how can you highlight your accreditation? How can you use those promo kit materials? There are a lot of ways, as you can see on your screen. You can incorporate your accreditation logo, detail your achievement in print materials like press releases, brochures, flyers, posters, advertisements. A lot of organizations feature their accreditation status online or electronically, so that could be a web page devoted to accreditation, having your accreditation logo on the footer of your website, including it in your email signature or listing it in your email newsletters. We've also seen organizations create videos about their accreditation. They post them on social media on their website. They'll do just kind of separate social media posts about their achievement. So some other ways you can promote your accreditation, you could include it in communications with potential and current donors. You could mention it in job postings. You could have posters, which are included in your kit. You could have those up in your administrative offices. So again, just a lot of different ways you can promote your accreditation. So now I'm going to be sharing some real life examples of how organizations promote their achievement of accreditation. So as you may have seen a while back, we sent out a survey link to accredited organizations asking you to share your examples. And we did hear back from some great organizations with some good examples. So this is from the St. Louis ARC, who is an organization that achieved person-centered excellence accreditation with distinction. They're in Missouri. And Stephanie Scott, their Vice President of Support Services and Strategy, shared that they kind of promote their accreditation in a lot of different ways. So they incorporate it into their letterhead. They add it to their brochures. They put it in their community reports. They add it to their newsletters. On their website, they'll include the accreditation logo on their footer, on their mission webpage. They have a dedicated accreditation webpage where they actually, they list out why accreditation is important, what it is, how it impacts people. So they have a lot of really good examples. Another organization that we heard from through the survey was AHRC in New York City, and Sarah, their Associate Vice President of Performance Improvement and Innovation, shared a number of good examples, and you'll see some kind of reoccurring themes. So they incorporate accreditation onto their website. They have, their kind of just general announcement about the achievement. They have a web page that's specifically devoted to quality, and so on that one, they of course, include their dedication through accreditation on that page. They have the logo on the footer, which is displayed on every single page of their entire website. They also incorporate information about accreditation into their kind of introductions and onboarding for new hires. And then, like a lot of organizations, they do a lot of posts on social media about their achievements. Then we also heard from Alpha Opportunities. They're an organization in North Dakota that achieved person-centered excellence accreditation. And Mallory Everson, their Associate Executive Director of Residential and Quality, shared a number of examples. Again, kind of that website presence of accreditation. They've posted to Facebook about their achievement. They include information about accreditation in letters that they send out to staff and guardians. They, using some of the materials from the promo kit, including the press release template, they created and distributed an article that was featured in their local newspaper. They incorporate information about accreditation into their newsletters, into their emails, so a lot of really good examples. And then just kind of running through a number of other ways that a handful of different organizations promote their accreditation. So we have, Buffalo River Services out of Tennessee. They have a webpage about accreditation that includes, what it is, why it's important, how it affects people. Skills Development Services, another Tennessee organization, actually has a link to their Quality Assurances Accreditation report listed right in the footer on their website. So then, their stakeholders can go and view it and see, what their goals are, what their progress is. So that's just kind of another idea. Opportunities for Positive Growth out of Indiana includes information about their accreditation and job postings. So again, kind of that, idea of a key differentiator of, if you have new employees looking for a place to work that's, really committed to the people receiving services and quality, in their services and supports, accreditation might be a way of kind of helping your organization stand out. We have Community Living Oakville out of Ontario. They highlighted their achievement in an organizational newsletter. We have the Arc of Mid-Hudson in New York. They incorporate accreditation in their company boilerplate description. And in this case, it was used in an events listing for a chili cook-off, which sounded like fun. Then we had Arc of Westchester, also out of New York. They have web pages about accreditation in general. They also have information about their achievement accreditation on certain web pages. We have Progressive Community Services. That's a provider in Missouri, and they have an accreditation page on their site. And then the logo is also in the footer of their website, which again is kind of spread across all pages of their website at the very bottom of the web page. We have SESDAC, an organization in South Dakota, and they recently celebrated their 50th anniversary. And to kind of include accreditation as part of their history and their journey, they talked about their accreditation and why they pursued accreditation, why it's important to them. We've really tried to describe a lot of different examples of how you can energize your organization, communicate with stakeholders, promote your accreditation, and that covered as you're pursuing accreditation, what is going on during your accreditation week, and then as Maddie and I described, after you achieve accreditation, throughout your accreditation term, what can you do to continue to have that energy and that excitement? So now we really want to hear from you. So we're going to be turning things over to a Q&A section, but as you're coming up with your questions, before you submit those to the Q&A box, I'm going to just share a few different ways that you can connect with CQL. So first, you can sign up for CQL emails through our newsletter distribution. And if you go to our website, you'll find a sign-up form on the footer, which is on every page across the entire website. Otherwise, I'm also posting into the chat right now where you can click and sign up to receive resources, tools, information, such as about these accreditation webinar series. So, I'd encourage you not only to sign up for that, but also to pass it along to your colleagues, to your staff. It's just a lot of great ways to connect yourselves with resources and tools. And then also, we're of course on a number of different social media channels, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. So, you can connect with us there. And then also, we do have the Facebook e-community. It's a kind of a member-driven site that people can go to share resources, ask questions, get help. So I mean, if there's a lot of different ways that you're looking for different tools or different resources, or you have questions about how other organizations are promoting their accreditation, it's a really good platform for it. It's very supportive. So now we are going to turn things over to kind of your questions, and we can kind of leave we can leave that contact screen up on the screen so that if you have any questions as we go, you can also email us directly and ask those. So we had our first question was from Betty, and Betty is asking if we can explain how to access or who to contact for the promo kit materials. So Maddie, would you like to cover that, or would you want me to take care of that one?
I can. So hi, Becky. You can reach out to me directly through this email. My address is on the page. You can also contact your CQL representative too if you need assistance. Yeah, pretty simple.
Very good. And we get this question all the time. We did address it at the very beginning, but again, we do get asked this. So will attendees get access to this webinar recording and slides for the webinar? The answer is yes. And again, we send out a link, an email to all registrants, whether you actually attended or not. And we send that out in roughly 1 to 2 weeks. And that'll include the links and information of where you can watch that webinar recording and where you can get a PDF version of the PowerPoint slides. And other questions we have these. How can I get in touch with other organizations to learn about how they promote accreditation? I can take that one. So again, I think, aside from going to the accredited organizations listing on our website, another great place to go is that Facebook e-community. You can make a post, ask a question, and connect with other organizations and kind of find out about the unique ways that they're promoting their accreditation. So that's always another option. We have a question, and maybe more so for Eric and Kristen. What have providers told board members that were still not convinced that CQL accreditation is the right thing for the organization? I don't know if Eric or Kristen, if you want to handle that one.
I'll jump in. I think we definitely alluded to it in the course of the presentation today, is that by pursuing accreditation, it shows that the organization is committed to being as person-centered as possible and to improving services and to continue to ensure them. And I think, too, you might be able to appeal to other members of the board, depending on what their vocations are, because oftentimes if the board is comprised of any educators, for example, they recognize the value of accreditation and the commitment that it shows. And so they can also back that up. It may very well give you an edge over other organizations in your area by having that accreditation. And you may be able to leverage it. And certainly in some cases, organizations, because they've been CQL accredited, were able to secure grants depending on which state they're in and what the criteria were for those specific grants.
Good question and good answer. Maybe Kristen, if you want to handle this one. Is the accreditation week more for the president and CEO and not so much about the people that are receiving services?
Yeah, so great question. Definitely it's for everybody. And again, the diversity of the group who's included is really, really important. And at that point, it's a great way to get people excited about organizational transformation, which includes everybody and not just the leadership. So yeah, so again, I would work to get as many people supported. Eric had said nothing about me without me. So yeah, the people are always the most important, and hopefully you can frame it in that way and get a diverse group of voices. But really, really great question.
That's perfect. And maybe we'll jump back to Eric with this next one. How do you respond to first-line managers and direct care staff who might not believe that partnering with CQL will lead to improved services?
Well, I think that one of the main ways to respond to that is that their participation in the process would certainly ensure some degree the direction that the organization is going to go in. So it's part of that partnership and collaboration. They're going to have a voice in that process and in terms of establishing which direction the organization is going on. And organizations that are concerned about person-centered planning, if they're aligned with the CQL basic assurances, as well as they're using input from the personal outcome measure interviews, that should very well align them with person-centered services. And some organizations are struggling with that, particularly given that the settings rule is now being enforced. There's a whole lot more interest in being aligned with the person-centered, with the settings rule right now. And working with CQL and the resources, and a lot of times people are looking for something like a rights assessment or a safety assessment, and they're starting from the ground up. And there may be templates or samples that we can share with them. And hey, look, if the wheel's already been created, there's no reason to go back and recreate it. So I think some of it is getting frontline supervisors and direct support people also to kind of let go a little bit. And I think sometimes that's a hurdle when it comes to embracing CQL, is some of it is the unknown. And that's, I think, why, as Kristen so rightfully emphasized, how important it is to be positive during accreditation week and such.
And I like that we've kind of hit on that theme a lot, because you find that having that kind of positivity and that good energy really makes a big difference. Kristen, a question for you. What are some examples of community partners that would be invited to participate in Accreditation Week?
Yeah, that's a great question, and one that I think we get often. it's really just thinking about who is there to support your organization in a variety of different ways. It can be people who help you with fundraising. It can be people who employ people within your organization. It can be local churches who people like to attend. It really, the sky's the limit with community partners. I think when you start to look outside of your organization, you'll really find that a lot of community partnerships happen naturally, but that they like to give back in a reciprocal way and be involved in things. So this is a really great way to build social capital and also continue to foster those really important community connections. But great question.
We've kind of a follow-up to that, Kristen. So how do you approach community partners to attend events around accreditation and, kind of get them excited about it?
Yeah. Again, as I said in the beginning, accreditation is a big word and it encompasses so much, and it's really hard to describe quickly and easily, right? So I think just presenting it in a way that you really want their input as you're strategically planning for the next few years, that you want to get their expertise and their nuanced kind of talents and approaches to planning for the future. And hopefully that will be enough to have them want to come participate. And typically, I found that when people start participating, community partners, they want to do it more and they want to tell their friends to do it more. So it tends to be a very a singular event that builds in the future. So it's a really, really great way to get community partners involved in all aspects of the organization.
Excellent, good info. And kind of along those same lines of getting people involved in the accreditation process. Maybe Eric, if you want to take this one. So when an organization is attempting to recruit people receiving services to participate in, the accreditation events, is it possible that people would be reluctant to give up work or other daytime activities to participate? Like, what can you say to kind of win them over and get them involved?
I think part of it is exploring a little bit more with the people, why they might be reluctant to give up their day program. Sometimes if it's work, they're reluctant to give up money, in which case we might look to their employer, or if it's one of the organization's own day programs, to see if there isn't some way to put a stipend attached to that to provide some incentive for people to attend that. It may be that they're going to miss the opportunity to see some of their friends or coworkers there, and potentially we could address that as well by bringing them in. I think a lot of it is education about the process itself, and it may just be intimidating. Like Kristen said, it's a big word. It entails a lot of things, and break it down for people so that it eliminates some of the mystery from it. Let them know exactly what the expectations are. Let them know what the refreshments are going to be. But I think too, it's similar to the rec support people and the frontline staff is you want to be at the table. You want to have a voice in this process because depending on the accreditation that you're pursuing, you might be setting the direction for the organization for the next 3 or 4 years. And it's like when I used to work with unions, I would tell the people in the union, you want to be at the table, because you want to have a voice, because the outcome is going to impact on you. And I would say the same thing to the people we support is, hey, look, this is going to have an impact on you. Be heard.
Really good point. So I think, we're kind of wrapping up our 1 hour kind of time frame here. So I'm just going to take a moment to thank all of our attendees for joining us today. Obviously a very kind of different topic from what we usually cover in our accreditation webinar series, but an important one. And we just really appreciate everyone joining us for this today. And to my other co-presenters, great information shared today and excellent. So again, we'll be sending out an email to all registrants within a week or two with the webinar recording and slides. But thank you and hope you all have a great day.